Okay, so The Fabulous Four. This is the latest film from Jocelyn Moorhouse. It is written by Jenna Milley and Anne-Marie Allison. The film is produced by Lauren Hantz. Richard Barton Lewis. I mean, there's a lot of executive producers on this. Boy. Okay, yeah, that's it. Executive produced by Anne-Marie Allison, Ashley Clark, Chris Clark, Ford Corbett, Jayton Desi, Fasano, Greg Friedman, John Hantz, Joshua Harris, Rob Heidelita, Lindsay Hurd, Gabrielle Giroux, Randy Jones, Patrick Joston, Walter Joston, Andrew Carpen, Nathan Klinger, Mark David Levin, Patty Long, Joe Michaeli, Jenna Milley, Megan Mullally, Blake Norfield, Mitul Patel, Sheryl Lee Ralph, Kent Sanderson, Sudan Sarandon, Joey Suquet, Stephen Toll, Christine Zhang, and Charles Zhang. It is co-executive produced by Jack Wardlaw, Simon Oakes, Patricia Brando Joston, Tim Jones, Mario de la Guardia. It is co-produced by Lamar Richardson with line production from Lauren Brooke. Okay. David Hirschfelder took care of the music. Roberto Schaefer is on cinematography, while Gabriella Muir was taking care of the editing duties. Production design is Catherine Smith. Set decoration is Andrea Doyle. Costume design is Marie Shiley. We've got hair and makeup from Eugenia Weston, Susan Riley Lahan, Deandra D.D. Metzger, Darlene Majeski, Sarah Lawless Emmett, Latoya Henderson, J.T. Funk, Curtis Foreman, Emma Fisher, Latrice L. Edwards, Kimberly Cutter Williams, Sabria Alvin, and Jerome Allen. So, our cast. Oh man, there was a lot of stars up in this, right? So, Bette Midler is Marilyn. Her best friend, Lou, is played by Susan Sarandon. We've then got their other friends, Alice, played by Megan Mullally, and Kitty, played by Sheryl Lee Ralph. There's Dr. Rhonda Brown, played by Deja D. Um, oh, there's Kitty's daughter Leslie, played by Brandy Evans, and Leslie's son Nathan, played by Caden Well Bennett. We've got Ted, played by Bruce Greenwood. There is Bobby, played by Caden Taylor. Amy, played by Evangeline Friedlander. Shivani, played by Renika Williams. Sheila, played by Abigail Dolan. And Brandon, played by David Gorin. Captain Ernie, played by Timothy V. Murray. Joaquin, played by Nicholas Vels. Got the bartender, played by Micah Eagle. The nurse, played by Theo Lee. Who else is there? Michael Bolton plays Michael Bolton. Amanda, played by Sophie von Helsberg. Okay, that's basically the main cast. Right, the gist is this. If three's a crowd, four's a party. The Fabulous Four is an uproarious comedy about a group of lifelong friends who travel to Key West, Florida to be bridesmaids in the surprise wedding of their best college girlfriend, Marilyn. Over the course of one outrageous trip, sisterhoods are rekindled, the past resurfaces, and there are enough sparks, sex, and romance to change all their lives in unexpected ways. So, yeah, that is the film. I think the biggest takeaway of this film for me is polydactic cats, right? And that's a cat with five, like 6 or 7 toes on a hand, or a paw, as it were. I'd never heard of that, right? That's the first I've heard of a polydactic cat. That is the thing that I will take away from this film. It's the most memorable thing of this film. I don't believe the word fabulous should be associated with this, because I did not think it was fabulous in any sort of way. Jeez, this was kind of painful, and that's a hell of a shame, right? Because this is a great cast. I mean, come on, this cast is bonkers when you think about it. Susan Sarandon, right? Bette Midler, Megan Mullally, Sheryl Lee Ralph. It's and then all the supporting too. We got some great actors here, but the story is so paper thin, right? Look, the gist being they were all, all best friends when they were younger. We had Lou and Marilyn, they moved into a spot next to Allison Kitty, and then they all became great friends, hung around, and it was that. But Marilyn marries Lou's boyfriend, right? And that brings a wedge, obviously. You then have this story that is so convoluted, right? Well, I wouldn't say convoluted is probably the wrong word. There's just a load of tag-ons that are just like, okay, right? Like Kitty's daughter has joined some weird church, right? We've then got the gay kid, like you just have all of these different add-ons. You've got this bride, wait, what do you call it? A Hindu going on. You have these random things that become part of the story, and you're just like, that's not adding anything to this, right? It just feels very bizarre because we don't go anywhere other than surface level. You know what I mean? Like, look, if you're bringing in this whole bit about, the gay son, which was so obvious, right? Because they kept on talking about him and then being like, oh, and he had this distinctive birthmark on his bum. And so the minute a certain, like, piece starts, you just think to yourself, that's going to be the son. Right? Because you're not making a big deal about a birthmark unless it becomes a talking point in the film. Right? So we knew that was a thing, but it's just like, okay, so how is that going to really impact the story? It does not. Remove that piece of the storyline. It's the same story. Right? It's the same story. Then you have that whole thing of the thing that has caused this kind of rift between these two. And I say kind of rift because it's kind of like, are they not talking or have they talked? It was very bizarre. You weren't quite sure. But it's an issue. And then for whatever reason, for 90% of the film, one person does not see it as being an issue. And then at the very end, as always happens, you get the whole, oh my God, here's and you're just like, I mean, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? This is such a terrible script. It really is. You have the Alice character, right? Who basically Megan Mullally plays her Will and Grace character, right? She plays basically the character she is in Will and Grace, right? Like looking to jump on everyone, just that. And we're meant to believe that every single young guy she bumps into wants to jump her bones. And it's not to say that, young people don't like older women. That's not a thing at all. But it's just as ridiculous as when it's the opposite, right? When you've got an older guy and all the young girls supposedly want it, and you're just like, in what world? Like, yes, some might, but you're saying every single one does want to do. It's always ridiculous. It's ridiculous whichever way you do it, right? It's just ridiculous and laziness in the writing. That's what that is. But so you have this, but again, no, it's why is this in the story? It's not adding anything. Like, there is no character depth to anyone. You know what I mean? There's no character depth. You're just adding these things, right? Like being like, Kitty makes weed. She grows weed. She's got a weed farm and makes gummies and all of this. Which you're kind of thinking, I don't think that's a thing, right? Because especially all of that is kind of regulated now. So you couldn't sell it on that mass. There's no way that just a person making it in their yard can actually regulate how strong everything is. And you know what I mean? It's very bizarre, but that's her, right? Nothing else. That's her character. She's all about psychedelics, right? Alice is all about, you know what I mean, just having sex with random people. That's their character, right? We're not getting any other sort of depth here. It's a bizarre situation, you know? It's a bizarre situation. And look, we've had countless films like this, but you just scratch your head at times when you look at the quality of the cast and thinking, how did they all get involved in this? Now, I will say, I imagine that everyone had a great time making this, right? And you can't, you know, you can't, I can't think of the word, but basically blame people for wanting, you know, they're all old, right? They're all old. They're in the latter half of their career. I mean, towards the end of their career, really. So, yeah, obviously you wanna make things where you can just hang out with friends and just joke and all of this. But I kind of just feel that it could still be a good film, right? It doesn't have to be an incredible film, a life-changing film, but it could at least be half decent. You know, it's like when someone supposedly accidentally takes drugs and then suddenly, you know, they kick in so quickly, which is not a thing, right? But then it's just doing weird things where you're just like, hold on, are you telling me that a guy couldn't have stopped Alice from doing the thing she does on the boat? You're telling me a guy couldn't have just stopped her easy from doing that nonsense? And then we've got old people crashing. Old people crashing. They're gonna break. Someone's breaking a bone, right? It's old people. Bones are brittler. It's, you know, it's just how it is. So they're breaking some, but no one breaks anything. You're just like, what is this? What is this? You know, it's very bizarre. The whole TikTok thing was just too much. It was like, it really felt like, you know, Anne-Marie, Allison and Jenna Millie had a whole heap of, you know, concepts. Be like, oh, we could make a film how, you know, an older person is using social media but doesn't quite get it. Oh, yeah, that'd be funny. What if we then have them maybe take drugs and they don't know, and that could be funny? Oh, why don't we have them like want to get married later, and like that could be fun? So all of these different ideas, and then it's just like, let's just merge them all together, right? Let's merge them all together. That'll be, yeah, that should work. That's what this feels like. You know, it just feels like instead of developing each component as its own thing, they're just, you know what? Let's just save time. Let's just save time and mesh it all together. Yes, that's what we will do. Hey, I am sure there will be people that enjoy this. I would say if you were a fan of, I think it was 10 for Brady, right? The Tom Brady film. I think if you liked that, you will like this. You know what I mean? That's what I would definitely say. If you enjoyed the Brady film, you'll enjoy this one. Yeah. Otherwise, like this. Well, I think if you like the 420 movie, you will like this. You know? Yeah, because, you know, there's been a slate of comedies of late that maybe aren't, right? That aren't, you know, incredible, as it were. So, yeah, I think if you're a fan of any of those, last week we had, Gothic Slayers, right? Gothic Slayers. If you enjoyed that, I think you will like The Fabulous Four. You know, so I think we have these. It's kind of along the lines of Section 31. This is not sci-fi. Oh, whew, you know, kind of pregnant. If you like that, you could possibly like The Fabulous Four. So there is an audience for this. It just was not made for me. Wasn't made for me, right? I couldn't really find an element of the thing that I did enjoy, unfortunately. But there you go. Yeah, The Fabulous Four is dropping on the 10th. So if it sounds like it could be for you people, mark it down. The 10th of March, The Fabulous Four.